Bill calls the paramedics for Eric. Moment on Bold and the Beautiful. Eric and Ridge have a battle with ruinous results. Ridge was maddened when Katie confessed Eric is Logan's lead developer, and Liam revealed to Hope. At Eric's, Ridge and Brooke refuse to believe that Eric is working for a zany like Bill. Katie says the designs were each done simply for Logan. Brooke and Ridge can't believe they all went behind their tails. Bill says Eric is a developer and was out of work. Ridge refuses to accept his pater would work for Spencer. He accuses them of lying to him. Bill says he set his pater free so he can work with who he wants. Ridge smothers at his father, who reminds him he gave him a withdrawal he didn't want. Ridge accuses Bill of using Eric and his woman. Joins him to lecture Katie. Katie demurs that this was all Eric's idea. Donna backs that over. Ridge says they've put him in peril. Bill complains that they were trying to avoid Ridge's hissy, disturbing Eric. Donna asks everyone to calm down. She just wants her hubby to be fulfilled but worries about his condition. Eric reminds them that he's there, and only he knows what's stylish for himself. He's the bone who calls the shots in his life. He may be old, but he's not unnoticeable. Everyone starts apologizing and Eric insists this was all his decision. He reminds his son he fired him. Ridge demurs he was only giving him an out for his own sake. He asks him to come back to the family. His father asks when he lost the capability to make his own choices. He can still produce and that's all he cares about. As he accuses Ridge of trying to take that down from him, he nearly falls over. Bill calls 911 and Ridge calls for water. The ambulance arrives and Eric tells them he's fine and he's a Sagittarius. They tell the paramedics about his medical condition, and he refuses to go to the sanitarium or have any shots. Eric says that getting old is an achievement, and he wants to be in charge whether he lives or dies. He's tired of being told what to do. Ridge sits with his father, takes his hand, and asks him to breathe with him. They take deep breaths and Ridge reminds his pater. He used to keep him calm. He's always been his gemstone. He remembers every story he's ever told him and he's sorry he's made him feel this way. He loves him. At Spencer, Hope stutters as she pieces together that Eric Forrester, creator of Forrester Creations, is now creating for Spencer. He admits only he and Donna know an Eric, Bill, and Katie swore them to secretiveness. He hasn't known for long and it was hard for him to keep this from her. Hope can hardly accept Eric hasn't been retired. She paces around so her brain will work briskly. Liam says Eric was wounded by what Ridge did. Indeed, if his heart was in the right place, it boomeranged and Eric wanted to educate him an assignment. They can see that Eric is still one of the stylish. Hope is thrilled for Eric but wishes this wasn't so messy. Liam makes it clear none of this was Katie's idea. This was all Eric's action. Hope do biddies that will count to her mama. Liam says that Eric was determined to do this and no bone could talk him out of it. She worries that he's not taking it easy. Her hubby thinks staying busy is the stylish for him. They talk about how stubborn all of them are. Liam assumes when this comes out there will be shockwaves. Hope worries this will destroy her mama's relationship with Katie. Her hubby admires how she cares for anyone. She doesn't suppose Eric's choice is going to help with the pressure. Liam says he knows a son can't control his father. Hope hopes she's just fastening on her pursuits when she hits 80. He's planning to so. They know they don't know how Eric feels, but she worries that fastening on a collection could be too exhausting. On the coming explosive chapter of The Bold and the Beautiful, the fallout from Eric Forrester's shocking alliance with Bill Spencer doesn't just ripple through Los Angeles, it detonates like a seismic event that threatens to fracture the Forrester dynasty at its core. What began as a bitter battle between father and son escalates into a medical exigency that forces everyone in the room to defy an intimidating possibility. What if pride, resentment, and undetermined injuries have pushed Eric too far? At the Forrester manse, the air is still thick from the argument that nearly ended in tragedy. Ridge stands firm in the living room replaying the moment his father nearly collapsed. The image wouldn't leave him, Eric persuading, his hand reaching out, his face drained of color. Bill's voice crying for 911. Donna's laugh. For a man who has always sounded larger than life, Eric suddenly looked fragile. Mortal. Mortal. Donna refuses to leave Eric's side as the paramedics finish their evaluation. She keeps her tone soothing, but her hands fluctuate as she smooths back his hair. Eric, ever recalcitrant, insists he's forfeiture. He indeed cracks a joke about being a Sagittarius, trying to play down the inflexibility of the situation. But no bone is laughing now. The paramedics exchange knowing ganders. They've seen this kind of intransigence before, cases who confuse independence with invincibility. Ridge kneels beside his father, guilt written all over his face. For all his wrathfulness about Spencer and the secret collection, nothing compares to the fear that just gripped him. He takes Eric's hand again, further gently this time, and reminds him to breathe. Slow, steady inhales. The way Eric formerly tutored him before a runway debut. The way a father steadies a son. Now the places are reversed. Bill Spencer, generally so collected and commanding, stands surprisingly quiet near the fireplace. For formerly there's no boo. No slice retort. He knows Ridge blames him. Perhaps part of him blames himself too. After all, he gave Eric the platform. He encouraged him to design again. He gave him the freedom Ridge tried to take down. But was that freedom worth this threat? Katie watches the scene unfold with disaccorded emotion. She had believed in Eric's vision. She respected his courage. But seeing him nearly fall to the bottom shakes her confidence. Brooke, meanwhile, feels the ground shift beneath her. Her fidelity to her family clashes with her fidelity to Ridge, and with her deep affection for Eric. The Logan sisters have survived innumerous storms, but this one feels different. Personal. Dangerous. When the paramedics formally again recommend a sanitarium visit, Eric refuses with sword in his voice. He declares that getting old isn't a weakness but an achievement. That he'll not spend his remaining times being treated like glass. That he'll choose how he lives and how he dies. The room falls silent at those words. Donna's eyes fill with gashes. Ridge looks as if he's been struck. Ultimately, the paramedics leave with instructions and warnings. Donna promises to cover Eric nearly. Bill offers to have a private croaker on call. Ridge lingers, unintentional to walk down this time. He admits he was wrong to fire his father in the way he did. Indeed, if he believed it was an act of protection. Eric listens but doesn't completely yield. The crack between them is deeper than either wants to admit. Across city at Spencer Publications, Hope and Liam continue recycling the disclosure that Eric Forrester, the fabulous creator behind Forrester Creations, is intimately designing for Bill. Hope paces the office bottom, her studies contending. She admires Eric's passion. She truly does. But she also knows how fragile he's been. She remembers the stress, the breathlessness, the croaker's warnings. Liam tries to assure her. He explains again that this wasn't Katie's manipulation or Bill's compulsion. This was Eric's decision. A man reclaiming his purpose. Hope nods, but anxiety shadows her eyes. She fears the emotional fallout further than anything. Brooke's ineluctable fury. Ridge's pride. The Logan family caught in crossfire. Hope also worries about commodity deeper heritage. What does it mean when a primogenitor feels forced to prove his worth? When withdrawal feels like exile? She wonders if the fashion world has been too quick to sideline its legends. If Ridge undervalued how important designing means to Eric's veritably identity. Back at the manse, night falls. Donna insists Eric rest. Ridge still asks to stay. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Eric agrees. The house grows still as father and son sit together in near darkness. Ridge confesses he was hysterical, truly hysterical for the first time in times. Eric softens slightly, admitting he no way intended to beget similar fear. He simply wanted to feel alive again. Their discussion doesn't magically heal everything, but it opens a door. Meanwhile, Bill and Katie partake a private exchange outside. Bill insists Eric's collection will shake the assiduity. He believes in the genius of the man. Katie still fears public counterreaction if Eric's health falters under pressure. Bill promises he'll pull the draw if necessary, but indeed he knows Eric would no way allow it willingly. The coming morning brings new pressure. Word of Eric's near collapse spreads still among family members. Steffi learns about it and incontinently sides with Ridge, arguing that Eric's health must come ahead pride. Thomas, further equivocal, acknowledges that creative fire doesn't die just because someone periods. Brooke confronts Katie in a charged scene. She demands to know why her family kept such a monumental secret. Katie defends herself. reminding Brooke that Eric swore them to confidentiality. The argument escalates, hanging to renew old injuries between the Logan women. At the sanitarium, because DONNA eventually convinces Eric to at least suffer inpatient tests, Croakers deliver sobering news. Stress is aggravating his condition. Continued overexertion could lead to unrecoverable consequences. Eric listens, expression undecipherable. When Ridge arrives, awaiting another battle, he rather finds his father reflective. Eric admits he doesn't want his final chapter to be defined by fear. But he also doesn't want his son's last memory of him to be an ambulance temptress. In a surprising twist, Eric proposes a concession. He'll complete the Spencer collection but on his terms. Limited hours. Medical supervision. Translucency with the family. Ridge hesitates, also reluctantly agrees. It's not surrender but it's peace, at least for now. Hope, upon hearing about the concession, feels cautiously auspicious. She sees this as growth, a blending of independence and responsibility. Liam remains cautious of the ineluctable press explosion when the collaboration becomes public. And when that advertisement eventually hits, Eric Forrester designs for Spencer. Los Angeles fashion circles erupt. Captions question fidelity. Judges presume about Forrester Creations' stability. Social media ignites with divided opinions. But in the midst of contestation, Eric stands before a glass in his design plant, sketchpad in hand, eyes shining with renewed purpose. DONNA watches from the doorway, heart full yet anxious. Ridge appears behind her, quietly observing his father at work. For the first time in weeks, there's no shouting, no allegations, just the scrape of pencil on paper. The battle between heritage and autonomy isn't over. The Logan sisters' relationship remains simulated. Bill and Ridge's contest burns hotter than ever. And Eric's health still hangs in delicate balance. But one verity has come inarguable: Eric Forrester isn't ready to fade still into history. And as the collection elevation closer to debut, the question looms larger than ever. Will this bold final act cement his heritage or bring him everything? As the days unfold on The Bold and the Beautiful, the emotional foreshocks of Eric's medical dread continue to ripple through every corner of Los Angeles. What originally sounded like a family argument entwined into commodity far more sobering. A memorial that time, pride, and undetermined injuries can collide with ruinous force. Yet for Eric Forrester, the near collapse has not extinguished his fire. However, it has boosted it, if anything. At the temporary Spencer design plant, sun aqueducts through altitudinous glass windows as bolts of luxurious fabric are laid out across long tables. Sidekicks move still, apprehensive that they're sharing in commodity major. This isn't simply another fashion collaboration. This is Eric Forrester reclaiming his identity. Eric arrives with DONNA at his side, refusing to be treated like Demitasse. He walks sluggishly but designedly, leaning only slightly on his club. His breathing is steady this morning, though DONNA notices the faint fatigue in his eyes. She pretends not to see it. Rather, she beams at him as if he's about to debut his veritably first collection again. Bill Spencer stands across the room, watching the legend at work. For formerly, his usual bravado is tempered with respect. He knows what this means, not just for his company but for Eric's soul. Bill approaches precisely. "Are you sure about moment?" he asks in a low voice. Eric doesn't look up from his sketchpad. "I've no way been more sure of anything." Meanwhile, Ridge wrestles with his feelings back at Forrester Creations. The boardroom feels colder than usual. Steffi and Thomas sit across from him, reviewing protrusions that show an unforeseen dip in investor confidence after rumors of Eric Spencer collaboration began circulating online. Steffi is blunt. "We need to control the narrative." Thomas, though probative of the company, reveals a more nuanced perspective. Forefather isn't the adversary. He's proving he still belongs. Ridge's jaw tightens. He's risking his life to prove a point. But deep down, Ridge knows it's more complicated than that. Eric isn't fighting Ridge. He's fighting impertinence. Brooke enters the boardroom still, seeing pressure. She places a gentle hand on Ridge's shoulder. "Perhaps this isn't about winning," she suggests vocally. "Perhaps it's about understanding why he felt he'd to leave." Her words loiter long after she exits. Back at the Spencer plant, Eric reviews fabric tapes with renewed intensity. Silks glimmer beneath his fingertips. Structured acclimatizing patterns cover the walls. He speaks with authority, directing seamsters with perfection. For those watching, it's as if time has reversed. Yet the strain is there. Mid-afternoon, Eric pauses, pressing a hand smoothly against his casket. Donna notices incontinently. She defenses them both and attends him into a private office. Her voice trembles as she asks if he needs to stop. "I need to finish," Eric insists gently. "Not because of Bill. Not because of Rich. Because this is who I am." Donna's eyes fill with gashes. "You're further than your work." Eric smiles noiselessly. "Maybe. But my work is how I love the world." Across city, Hope and Liam sit at their kitchen table agitating the mounting media buzz. Captions presume about a Forrester civil war. Bloggers debate whether Eric's collaboration signals an endless fracture within the fashion dynasty. Hope worries most about Brooke and Katie. The pressure between the Logan sisters has grown thick and brittle. Katie maintains that she recognized Eric's wishes. Brooke feels blindsided not just professionally but tête-à-tête. Liam reassures Hope that families survive worse. But Hope can't shake the feeling that commodity deeper is unraveling, commodity tied to pride, aging, and the fear of being replaced. That evening, a private family meeting is called at the Forrester manse. Ridge arrives first, pacing. Steffi and Thomas follow. Brooke enters last, her expression guarded. When Eric walks in, supported smoothly by Donna, the room falls silent. He looks around at his family, the faces that have defined his life. "I no way wanted this to come a battleground," he begins. Ridge interrupts, emotion breaking through. "Also, why didn't you tell me?" "Because you weren't hearkening," Eric replies calmly. The honesty stings. Eric explains that when Ridge offered him an out, it felt less like compassion and more like redundancy. He describes the loneliness of watching opinions made without his voice. The demotion of being gently sidelined in the veritably company he erected. Thomas shifts uncomfortably. Steffi looks thoughtful. "I don't need control," Eric continues. "I need purpose." Ridge's defenses begin to deteriorate. He admits he acted out of fear. Fear of losing his father. Fear of watching him decline under pressure. "And so you tried to decide for me," Eric says vocally. Silence fills the room again. Donna speaks up, her voice steady despite her gashes. "He doesn't want to leave this world feeling small." That lands heavily. The meeting ends not with resolution, but with commodity more precious, understanding. Days latterly, the Spencer collection is ready for its private exercise. Assiduity interposers gather in a satiny, minimalist venue. The atmosphere buzzes with curiosity and dubitation. Cameras flash. Fashion critics bruit. Backstage, Eric adjusts the collar of a model's jacket. His hands fluctuate slightly, but his eyes burn with focus. Donna stands close, ready to intermediate if necessary. Bill approaches, offering a rare gesture of respect, a nod without words. The show begins. One by one, models glide down the runway wearing designs that blend dateless fineness with bold ultramodern structure. Gasps ripple through the followership. Critics change stupefied ganders. The collection isn't nostalgic. It isn't safe. It's visionary. From the frontal row, Ridge watches in silence. He can't deny the brilliance. Each piece feels like a protestation. I'm still then. Midway through the show, Eric watches from confidentially observers. The applause grows louder. For a moment he closes his eyes, overcome, not by prostration but by fulfillment. When the homestretch arrives, Bill suddenly gestures toward the stage entrance. "It's your arc." Eric hesitates, only an alternate before stepping into the limelight. The followership rises to its bases. Among them, Ridge sluggishly stands as well. Confidentially after the show, journalists clamor for statements. Captions are formerly forming. Eric Forrester stuns fashion world. Spencer scores historic win. Forrester family divided yet united. But amid the triumph, reality intrudes. Eric's breathing becomes labored. Donna notices the subtle shift. So does Ridge. Before fear can spread, Ridge steps forward, steadying his father discreetly. "Let's get you nearly quiet," he murmurs. Eric resists compactly, also nods. In a private room, father and son sit together again. The applause still echoes noiselessly through the walls. You were magnific, Ridge admits. Eric smiles weakly. So were you formerly. Ridge chuckles vocally. I learned from the stylist.